Eric? Eric!
Who's to...
Hello!
Oh, hey, hello. Hi, this is Eric Martin from the band Mr. Big, and you're watching Linea Rock.
Hi, Eric. Welcome
Hi, Barbara.
welcome to Trezzo, Milan, and welcome to Linea Rock.
Thank you.
Good to have you here, back in Italy. Always a pleasure to have Mr. Big, which is such an amazing band.
Oh, thank you.
And you've been here quite a few times, so
I have.
always an honor. So the second album after the reunion has come out. The stories we could tell since about a month now. Was end of September.
Right.
Another powerful, melodic, groovy, perfect album.
Wow, you just keep talking. We don't even have to do the interview. I could just listen to you speak
right.
all night long. Go ahead.
You know I love the band, so it's easy for me. It's pure Mr. Big album on Frontiers Records, which is an Italian label, and you're half Italian, so
Yeah.
special
I'm
combination.
half Italian.
Half Irish.
Half Irish, but half Italian. This record label is Italian.
Yes.
You're Italian. It's a trifecta.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
Cool. Okay, so this second album after the reunion is another step, forward for the band. And
Yeah.
how do you feel about that? Did it take longer than ever, to record?
It was an incredible journey making this record. Well, first of all, I'm so happy that it was made, because I didn't think it was gonna be made.
Okay.
After What If, we did a 7 to almost 10 months of touring, and if you remember our history, Mr. Big, we broke up once
Yes.
or twice, and one of the reasons was being on the road for so long and being away from our families, getting on each other's nerves.
It was too much.
It was too much, and I think that's the reason why it took a few years to get back into lighting a spark into doing another album. The thing about Mr. Big is that we never plan anything. It's always like spontaneous and off the cuff, where it's like a call of duty. Yeah, Mr. Big is calling. And that's the way the other three guys are. I pretend to be on call, but I'm not. I'm always on call.
Okay.
I'm always writing, and that's what I did with this record. I know we'll talk some more further about the making of it and how we did it and everything, but it was hard because of logistics. You had Billy Sheehan over the last 2 or 3 years now. He was working on this small little project that's took off.
Right.
It's huge, the Winery Dogs.
Yes.
Getting bigger and bigger. Oh, and then you had Paul Gilbert, and he didn't know what he wanted to do. He was more like a homebody. He was teaching, and he did a solo album, and him and his wife were preparing for their American release,
Yes.
their baby, And then, unbeknownst to me, until I actually started working on this record, I didn't know Pat had Parkinson's, but I knew that he was, staying at home a lot more, And so I didn't know what was going on. And nobody was around, and so I broke the cardinal rule of Mr. Big. I made a plan. I called everybody up and I go, "Hey guys, it's time. I'm getting antsy here. I want everybody to, I know in between your other, projects and fantasies and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying fantasies, but you're in between your projects. Write some songs.
Yes.
Give me some songs that are, not even songs, ideas. We call them sniglets.
Okay.
And like little gems or scraps that I can cut and paste and glue and chop it up and make, even if you got 2 or 3 ideas and you got 2 or 3 ideas, I could put them together and I could make a song. Yeah. And that's what I did on this record. I'll talk more about it. Go ahead. What else you got?
Okay.
You got a whole full bunch
Well,
of questions here.
Well, actually, it's the price to pay, when you have such a multi-talented band. Everybody's a lot busy in doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
There's always been like that for Mr. Big, or it's a problem that through the years you found it's more and more evident?
When we broke up for a long, long time, and so in that interim, it was only it was what's the word? It was an eventual situation. I mean, like they had to do other things. There was no more Mr. Big, and so they had to do other things. It's ironic how Pat went with Richie to do like solo stuff, and then I don't know what Billy was doing clinics, and he had that band. Oh, what were they called? It was like a band with Tony McAlpine.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, everybody. You're right. Without I don't want to sound conceited, but very talented rock and roll band, and to just be, Mr. Big's over. Oh no, what do we do? Let's just sit in the dark. No, it's not the way it's going to be. I mean, people. We did a lot of. I did a lot of sessions. I worked on other projects, silly little projects.
No, hey, come
Mr.
on.
Vocalist was one kind of thing I did, but.
Since you mentioned already 2 times the split, that you did after, that split and then reunite, it's a lesson learned, and certain dynamics and balance can never break again, or sometimes things, come again.
It's we just don't want to. We want to make everything that we do painless.
Okay.
With even our record company. They don't, they don't push us. Not like when we used to be with Atlantic Records. It was always like, give me the next To Be With You, or you got to be out on the road forever, or you need to do this and you need to do that. And it was almost being pulled in so many directions. And Frontiers doesn't do that, which is great, good for them, because we'd fucking lose our mind, And even our management, nobody pushes us, and we're not going to take it anyway. The authority, the telling us what to do. I know it sounds like we're spoiled brats, but we've proven ourselves. We've done all that, and we've proven that if we're overworked, we shut down. And so we try to make everything painless, and like I said before, no plans, and one really important key. And I'm probably to blame a little bit, is respect. Yeah. You kind of lose respect for each other a little bit. I respect their talent, but as men, or, chick bands out there too, but like men being together constantly, you have to respect each other's privacy. And so I've learned that. Okay. And I'm sure they've learned other things too. So we learned huge mistakes, big mistakes, and we remedied them. Right.
So you said that this time you worked differently. You started, this baby alone, taking ideas from everybody and so on. But what made this album pure Mr. Big record? At what which point you started working and from start to finish?
Well, it was always a Mr. Big record. I mean, I was alone in the beginning, but all those riffs, all those ideas, all those sniglets and all those ideas were, I would say, 75-80% Billy Sheehan, Paul Gilbert, and Pat Torpey.
Okay.
Their ideas, because they would get in a room and write riffs and riffs and riffs and riffs, and not really finished songs, They, like on this record, on like What If, Pat brought on a song, Billy brought on a song, I brought on a song, Paul. But in this one, those 3 guys worked over the years. And we're talking, like, one of the songs, like, excuse me, I Forget to Breathe, is like, the music of that song is like, I remember a little idea of that all the way back from '96.
Wow.
When Paul was still in the band, and I think he quit after that. But he had this sort of Jimi Hendrix piece.
That's right.
But not the nucleus. Just a little some little thing, And then I think it might have been brought out when Richie was around, but it didn't come into fruition. Nothing happened. And then 2009, it was like the little engine that could, but it always broke down before it actually got over the mountain. And in 2011, I started writing stuff to it. And then 2012, 2013, you know, I put it in the back burner because, fuck, it was no more Mr. Big. So, but I did write. But anyway, what I was saying was, Billy is kind of like the riff collector. Mm-hmm. We have our CDs, we still have our old cassettes and all the shit, and he put it all down on a hard drive. Okay. And remember when I said, hey guys, I need some songs, blah, blah, blah. So Billy sent out a hard drive, like on Dropbox, to everybody in our band. Yes. So all of us took those little puzzle pieces and started to write songs. And, but mainly me, I'm not trying to be vain here or anything, but I took all that shit and I wrote melodies and lyrics. And I write with this guy, Andre Pessis, that I've been writing with for years. You know, him and I wrote Just Take My Heart and Daddy Brother and all that stuff. But so I put all this stuff together, and then the first place I went to was Pat Torpy's house. Mm-hmm. He's got a recording studio. And we work with this guy, Pat Regan, is our producer. Yes. And Pat Regan, for those who, you know, are Mr. Big fans, he did our Get Over It album.
Yes.
Okay. And it was a kind of a bluesy record. See how my method of madness, I wanted a bluesy thematic record. Okay. I did that. They did that, but I picked out all the bluesy ideas, right. You know. They weren't around to do it. They would have said, Eric, man, you know, there's too many bluesy stuff. Let's have other things. And I'm like, they weren't around, so you know, bad singer. Anyway, so I gathered all the stuff together, and I got together with Pat and Pat Regan. Sat in a room, and I noticed Pat Torpy was a little tired, and he was a little weak, and I go, hey man, what's wrong with you? And then he was playing some electronic drums, mm-hmm. and I was playing acoustic, and we were demoing up all those ideas that we had come up with. And he just sat on the couch and he goes, hey, I have Parkinson's disease. And I was like, immediately, I didn't know anything about Parkinson's. I knew Michael J. Fox, the actor, has been dealing with it for years, and then Muhammad Ali, which, no offense to Muhammad Ali, but he was kind of a hot mess, you know, he was shaking and shit like that. And I saw Pat, and so Pat always had, not always, but since 2011, had a little tremor. Mm-hmm. But I'm not trying to be funny or offensive, but I thought it was like old age or something. Okay. Like my arm hurts, tennis elbow, and I'm getting older, and my back hurts, and shit, and my knees hurt because of all the surgeries that I've had falling off stage. And I thought it was something like that, but when he said Parkinson's, and it was heartbreaking. Yeah. And but like even Pat says, it's like I didn't know what to say, so I go, come on, forget it, let's go, chop chop, let's get right to it. And he's like, oh yeah, but I have, and I go, no, Pat, let's get right to it, you know. And because I can't sleep, and I go, well, you got to do something to that. You got to maybe, you know, there's no cure for Parkinson's, but take some medication that you can sleep, or nutrition, or get, you know, physical therapy or something. But Pat, we need you. Yeah. And he was really bummed that, because Parkinson's is a really weird disease, not just physical, but mentally. It's like it's a bad, like, poison ivy vine, mm-hmm. that wraps your brain and just gives you like the opposite feelings. Yeah. Like it makes you really depressed, and like, you know, like he kind of felt like, yeah, you guys ought to just go on without me and get another drummer and do your thing. And we were like, no, man, you're coming with us. I mean,
so he was actually there, but he didn't play drums. I mean, no, you used like a drums programmer or something?
No.
Okay.
It was Pat.
Oh, it was
doing
okay.
We had a drum programmer.
Okay.
But Pat played. We bought like a set of V drums, and they're like electronic kit.
Sure.
It's like snare, blah blah blah, and cymbals, and then we put it into the computer, and we made, you know, like he had pads. So basically it was like this would be a bass drum, this would be a snare drum, and then we'd have to like, it took a while. It wasn't like in the old days or 2011, you know.
Yeah, it was
it was like a couple weeks to do tracks. Now this was like a couple months.
Okay. Because
of his illness. And so we would get all the stuff and electronic drums and sample stuff of Pat's playing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, let's find sounds. No, this is all Pat's
Okay.
sounds, but tricks too, because physically just couldn't do it. Like say there was, like a vocalist, like I'm not telling any trade secrets, but when you do a fat ass harmony on a chorus, like Green Tinted 60s Mind, instead of doing chorus after chorus after chorus, through the tricks of recording, you take that awesome Green Tinted, although Green Tinted is not a perfect example because there's different words in every chorus, but the nucleus of the Green Tinted 60s Mind can be, it's called flown. You fly it, and you could fly it to the next chorus. In the recording world, I have no idea what I'm talking about technologically, but you feel me. You could just borrow the first chorus and paste it to the thing. So that's what we did for Pat. He would play the first chorus or first verse, and then we'd paste it. You know, granted, it's not like, you know, in the beginning we go, no machines and blah 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 blah, but we'd rather have that than have another drummer play on our record.
Okay.
And Pat even goes, man, I should have been doing this all along. I mean, whatever. But we'll never, if we ever do another album, we'll always either do like this or who knows, maybe there'll be a Cure someday, you know. But I wanted to reassure Pat that there was nobody else, you know. Even like Matt Starr's out on the road with us now as a
touring drummer.
A touring drummer, extra muscle.
Okay.
Because Pat is playing with us on tour as well.
Okay. So they're both playing?
In actually one song they're both playing. Okay. Actually a couple songs, but Matt is playing the majority of it, and then Pat is playing like 4 songs, full on. You know, like I mean, I could tell
you know, that's so great of you, because it's like.
Oh, I thought it was just going to be him
human,
being spiritual.
You know, the soul. You know, that's tells all. The fact that you're still so united, and
we're united,
that's amazing.
And see the character of Pat Torpey, just the drive.
Yeah.
Like we reassured him that we want you, and he was like, oh fuck, man. It made him push a little harder.
Good.
So, so eventually, Paul came back off the road promoting his solo album.
Yeah.
And then Paul and I wrote Gotta Love the Ride. Then Billy came back, learned all the songs, and went, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that, let's chop this up.
Okay.
So we rewrote stuff. And, but the demos were me and Pat.
Okay.
So, which is another show to show what kind of like strong presence Pat Torpey has in our band, you know. So
great.
Yeah. I'll cry right now. All right.
And how did you pick Matt Starr as a touring drummer? I mean, did you make any auditions, or it was just because you're a drummer as well? You started as a drummer.
Everybody's a drummer in this band. Everybody wants to play drums. Woo. Billy was there was some kind of benefit. And that guy on your chest right now, Ace Frehley.
Ace Frehley, yes.
The star man. He was playing this gig, and Billy sat in with Ace, and you know, he didn't really pay attention to other, you know, and a guitar player and Matt Starr, and he met him, and he's playing, and I think they played Love Gun, or they played some Kiss songs.
Okay.
And fuck, he looked at Matt, and he goes, man. The guy, and we were looking for a drummer, because Pat did say, you know, first he said, I want to do it, I can't do it, I want to do it, I can't do it. And we go, okay, we should get somebody to stand by, because we, you know, have this tour going on. Sure. And we put the tour off once, and then we had it again. We actually, you know, we released the album to to journalists and stuff like that, and it just wasn't ready. But it was almost like our out, because we almost didn't release the record or do this tour because of that. I mean, not politics, but behind the scene politics. Now you know. So Billy was just enamored by Matt Starr's playing, and
So it was it. I mean,
yeah, it was voice. I mean, he sang Love Gun.
Yeah.
And he was like,
wow.
holy shit, this guy can sing, he can play,
So,
nice guy, unique kind of look, you know,
Yeah.
with a little mustache. Really sweet guy, fucking lovable.
So he was hired.
Yeah, he was hired, and what we did was, he was hired, but we did do an audition.
Okay.
We went to our favorite rehearsal place called, don't worry, there's a bus driver looking in the window, checking his mug out. We went to a rehearsal place, and that was surreal, because Pat Torpey was sitting on the couch with our manager, Tim, and me and Billy and Paul, and this guy happens to be named Matt. We got a Pat and a Matt, weird. So Pat plays Daddy Brother, Alive and Kickin', Green to the 60s Mine.
Oh, lean into it. First 3 songs.
Yeah, and then I think Take Cover.
Okay.
So, which is a signature Pat Torpey tune, right?
Yes.
So he plays all his songs, and he does really good. And then he starts playing To Be With You. Sorry, not To Be With You, Take Cover. And Pat goes, yeah. And he's loving it. He's going, man, this guy's really good. But then he gets up, and he goes, do you mind if I show you something? And Pat gets up, takes his stick, sits down, and goes, plays a part.
Yeah.
And Matt goes, oh, that's how you do it? Yeah. So Pat sits down, Matt gets on the drums, he plays it, and I'm fucking looking at Matt, and I go, why didn't you just play it? What the? And Pat's like, I can't, let him play it. And it was just a surreal moment.
Yeah.
I've never played with Mr. Big in front of Pat Torpey as an audience, you know.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
So after that session, Matt was in. And, you know, I mean, God, it's so funny. You know, I'm a Kiss fan as well, you know.
like me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you know, I've just, you know, this is only the 3rd show. But last night, I started doing my Kiss questions. You know, a couple beers. Hey, so Ace, you know.
Okay.
And I'll probably do that a few times. But Matt's a good guy.
Okay.
And he plays great.
Yeah.
And he's also a big fan of Pat Torpey's.
Okay.
So it's not like Matt knows where he stands in the band. It's always Pat Torpey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Considering all Mr. Big career, if you have to pick just one song that can absolutely define the personality and musicianship of each Mr. Big member, one per member, including yourself.
Really? All right.
What would you pick?
If it's everybody sharing that one spotlight, that, you know what I mean, metaphorical spotlight where everybody shines, I would say Addicted at Rush.
Okay.
Yeah. Like every nuance, or there's like 4 big nuances in that song, and I would say that was the song.
But if you have to pick one song per member, like one
okay,
for
so I
Paul,
picked one.
For,
I didn't get the question. Okay, Addicted at Rush is everybody.
Okay.
All right, so
and that's okay.
Yeah.
We have that.
I would say, well, Billy, Addicted at Rush.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, he's that's him. Paul, I would say, song Out of the Underground. There's something about that, but that's Paul's fast kind of thing. But Paul also has a melodic side too. But if we can only pick one, I would say Out of the Underground. Pat Torpey, Take Cover.
Take Cover. Okay.
Yeah, signature.
And Eric Martin.
Fuck. Well, I thought it was Stranger in My Life, which was the What If album.
Okay.
But it's To Be With You.
Okay.
It's always To Be With You. To Be With You is not a song that was formula song. It wasn't like, I was trying to write a hit. It's not at all like that. It's genuine, from the heart song. You know, it's just a...
Is it true that you wrote that in your school days?
Yeah, like 16, 17 years old.
Okay.
The chorus of the song. a little bit of the verse, but my version was kind of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. This is like late 70s, you know. And I was only, I didn't know, all right, this is a trade secret. I didn't know how to write music back then, or lyrics, and I only knew a couple chords. And the chords that I knew were the same chords as To Be With You, right? It's only 3. And even when it modulates, I didn't really modulate. That was a fluke. I always played with a capo, and like if you play with a capo, you know thousands of chords. You just put it down the neck. So when I was playing the one who wants, you know, the E to A to B, I went, I don't know if I like that progression. So I moved it up, and I went, oh, that's cool. And I go, nah, it's too high. Bring it down. And then when I said, oh, what do I do after 2 choruses that are exactly the same, after the solo that, you know, came up with, I go, oh my God, capo. And I didn't know the chords or anything, I just capoed it. Like even when I play it to impress my sister's girlfriends, sitting out in the front yard in front of the big old oak tree, I play it and I go, you know, let me be the one to show you. Hold on for a minute. Clamp, clamp, clamp. I know what, you know, like that. And lyrically, I didn't know what to do either. So we used to have this nursery rhyme book in our house, like Mother Goose nursery rhyme. And I'd sing like Jack and Jill or Ring Around the Rosie or whatever. You know, there was a little old woman who lived in a shoe, had so many kids, didn't know what to do. 2 songs that I came up with, the only 3 chords that I knew. And I went, okay, this song's going to be cool, but I don't know what to write about. And so I just never really had any words, you know. I think I might have had I'm the one who wants to be with you, or that was it.
That was it.
I'm the one who wants to be with you. I'm the one who... Like even... I have a video of my son singing To Be With You when he was a little kid. And he goes, I'm the one who wants to be with you. I'm the one who wants to be. So, around 16, 17 years old, I had this girlfriend, which she wasn't a girlfriend. Her name was Patricia. She was a friend, like my girl Friday.
Okay.
I could vent and tell my problems to, and she could vent and tell her problems to me. Mainly about all her fucking million boyfriends she had, and I was like, I'm right here, you know, and she'd go, oh yeah, I like him, he's handsome. She wasn't a shallow person, she was cool, but I'm right here, you know. So yeah, Patricia Reynolds is her name. I haven't seen her since, but we'd sit in the backyard of her house, and all these weeds and vines and shit, and she had this old Mercedes-Benz on blocks, no wheels, and all the vines were growing in it, and she put up crystals in the broken windows. And we'd sit there, maybe a little of this. No, I didn't smoke. Okay. I didn't do drugs, you know. So yeah, maybe incense.
Okay.
And she'd read poetry to me.
Oh.
And she'd go, you know, you gotta write some poetry. And so I think what it was me writing a poem.
Okay.
And that was like my first attempt to write a poem, and I wrote it about her. And, you know, it was really, back then I thought it was the coolest thing I ever written. And even though it's great and it stands the test of time, you know, who knew it was going to be a hit, but it's really simple. Hold on, little girl, show me what he's done to you. Stand up, little girl, a broken heart can't be that bad. Because, you know, because she had so many boyfriends, it's like a broken heart can't be that bad, because you know you're going to fall in love again and again, like she always does. And, but that song was written out of like sort of desperation. Wasn't written to like, I'm going to write a hit, and maybe 20 years from now, I'll have a #1 hit song. Yeah, I don't know.
Wow. And is it To Be With You's fault if we have, you know, Live from the Living Room? in a sense, because that was your biggest hit, and you decided to lay down and.
Live from the Living Room actually came out of. No, we wanted to do like when I was younger. I used to play these concerts. Ironically, this guy Mike Lardy, he's the keyboard player and producer for Great White.
Yes.
And we didn't grow up together, but we played in the same circles. There's a couple other artists from back in the day, and they hadn't made it yet or anything. And we used to play these pillow concerts where people would come, like they were mainly in a school, like an assembly room. They'd come, they'd put their pillows down, and they'd watch this concert. And then, or we would have it in our homes, and they'd come in our house, and they'd be in our living room, or our, dining room, kitchen area, and they'd come in, and we'd have, instead of, because I played a lot of acoustic guitar when I was younger, I didn't do too many like garage bands, I'd have people in my house play acoustic guitar. So that was sort of derived, from those days. So I don't know.
Okay.
Call it whatever you want, but the Live from the Living Room was my attempt to, bring back my, spark of my youth or something, Okay. And the other guys as well. I mean, they like the idea.
Oh, great.
Thank God.
Plus that has that family feeling, which is a very warm show.
Do you remember and the set? It was really dark on that set, and you couldn't really see stuff, but there was like 1970s look at there was records, and posters and plants like you'd have in your living room, stuff like that, and couches and lamps and doilies and shit your mom would put out on the couches, and just it looked like a bedroom or a living room kind of thing. Yeah.
Do we have time for a couple more questions?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
What time is it? We're gonna edit this.
I guess
Anyway.
it's 6 o'clock or something.
This watch is awesome. I can't read it.
Okay, so let's go back to the school days once again.
Italian coffee.
With Kid Courage, your first band, or actually one of the first ones.
Nobody talks about Kid Courage. Awesome.
Awesome. You actually opened for ACDC at their first US tour. Yeah, it was 1976 or something like that.
It was 1978.
78. Okay. What do you remember of that experience and of Bon Scott, which is your image of those days?
Oh my God! It was the coolest. It was the fucking coolest thing I ever experienced. It was my first really taste of rock and roll stars. We had been playing. It was in San Francisco. Kid Courage. Yeah. First of all, it was a weird band. It was we wore like suits, not like Sunday go to meeting church kind of
like
suit.
the Beatles or
kind of like that. I didn't wear a coat. I just wore a vest and a shirt.
Okay.
And a loose tie. Kind of like, remember Rod Stewart used to wear that kind of shit.
Yes.
And so we wore that, but we were a really weird band. We were like a cross between the Rolling Stones and the Tubes.
Okay.
Because we had a keyboard player that would play like, it was like, or Edgar Winter, it'd be like Honky Tonk Woman meets fucking Frankenstein, And we'd always play San Francisco when we'd open to the international acts that would come in. I mean, we hadn't, after that AC/DC thing, we got called to do more stuff after that. I mean, Iggy Pop with David Bowie actually sitting in and playing keyboards. Wow. This guy, Brand X, they had this drummer, I can't remember, Morris or somebody, but Phil Collins sat in and played with him. And Neil Young and fucking Blondie.
Wow.
And, yeah, like any band, the Romantics, remember that?
Yes.
Talking in your sleep, or it's what I like about you. Yeah. So the Romantics, there was another band from Australia too, Angel City, I think they were called, but tons of rock and roll bands after that. But AC/DC was the what's the word I'm thinking? I can't think of any cool. I'm a songwriter, but it's behind closed doors. I take a long time to think. When it's off the cuff, I'm not good.
Okay. So you.
But so ACDC, you know, it was at a place called the Old Waldorf,
Okay.
and now it's a comedy club. It's called the Punchline.
All right.
But the Punchline itself, it had a bar and everything like that. Was the dressing room. So here's this big, and it wasn't that big. It was like maybe, I thought it was huge back then. But I asked somebody, how many people? It's like 650 people.
Okay.
You know, and it was a kind of long stage, and it was sold out, packed. And I didn't really know who this band was. When I heard them on the radio, they played their music in San Francisco. It was the first album, I think. It sounded like kind of a punk band. And in those days, San Francisco had a punk scene, full on.
Wow.
I mean, yeah.
Like New York.
Yeah.
Huh.
It was, the Sex Pistols were, you know, big, and the Buzzcocks and Clash and everything like that. And, you know, I didn't really know the heavy metal scene. I was into hard rock, but not really metal.
Okay.
And that wasn't bad. I wasn't aware of it. And my guy, our guitar player, who's like the leader, he's starting to get into Elvis Costello. So we kind of started to go into the Elvis Costello light, right? So, and which indirectly, I think maybe AC/DC turned my whole fucking head around, like The Exorcist. You know. So we're playing this gig. No, we're backstage, and we're sharing a backstage. And AC/DC comes in, and their crew, and they're Australian. They talk different than we did. And I was like, oh, wow. But it was, wow, that's cool. But I didn't know how to react in front of a rock star, and I just act normal.
Yeah.
We had a pool table right in the middle of the dressing room, and this guy, I think I might have been dicking around and playing a little pool. I don't know, because there was 2 nights. And I'm playing around, and he goes, this guy, and I can't do an Australian accent, but he was like, hey, mate, do you mind if we play together? And I go, yeah, that's cool. And he was just like a real skinny guy, disheveled hair, kind of looked like a cartoon figure. You know, I was like, hey, man, had a crooked kind of mouth. And he goes, and he had a T-shirt on, and I remember that I went like, oh, that's weird. You know, I could see his belly. And he was skinny, but he had like a chick shirt.
Okay.
And it's 78, you know.
Yes.
I'm wearing my suit. I'm getting ready to go on stage because we're opening. But he's wearing like, you know, a tight shirt, but his little belly and his hairy ass hat, his treasure trail showing, you know. And I'm like, okay. Jeans look fucking dirty as fuck. I'm just so greasy and dirty and kind of smell like beer a little bit. I play it, and he's like, hey, and we're having a good time.
Oh, okay.
And I go, hey, I'm Eric. I'm the singer, Kid Courage. He goes, hey, I'm Bon. You know, I'm Bon Scott. I remember going, Bon. And I heard, wow, Bon. That's an interesting name. Does that mean anything? I mean, like, no, Bon.
Never heard before.
I never heard, yeah, Bon.
Bon.
A name like Bon, you know. That's why, like, when later on, when, you know, U2 came out, I'm like, this guy's name is Bono. I'm like, that doesn't shock me. So we're playing, we're having a good old time. And I go, okay, well, I'm going to go. And he goes, hey, break a leg, good luck. Go out, we play. It was our town, so we did pretty good.
Okay.
Did our thing, came back, and AC/DC starting to change, right? And all this dude does is go, takes his shirt off, that's it.
And
he's wearing the same shit that he's worn all day. You know, probably.
On stage.
Yeah, those jeans look like they were painted on. And he's like, you know, kind of hairy chest a little bit. He's hanging out. He's kind of bouncing around the room. And I'm looking at the guys in the band. They kind of look the same. And then I go, oh my God, what the hell's that? And this dude dressed up like a schoolboy, you know, putting on these like velvety pants and a little velvet with like a fluffy little bow tie and a little hat. And I'm going, and granted,
then
it's awesome now, but at the time I was like, what the fuck is that? And I don't remember too clearly if they, I think they did have a wireless, and I'd never seen a wireless, or could have been a long cord, but I doubt it. But and I tell the story where I don't know if it was the second night or the first night that he gets on his shoulders and he goes out playing Long Way to the Top. But I just remember, Bond's leaning against the pool table. Bond gets on his shoulder. Angus gets on his shoulders, and he goes, "Eh." And I look out there, and I thought one of the crew guys were just playing his guitar.
Okay.
And he goes, and then like a delay.
Mm.
How is this possible? You know? And I may be remembering it completely wrong, but they go out and they do this show, and they're awesome. But it was like, oi, oi, and it sounds like punk.
Yes,
yeah,
TNT,
punk
that
thing.
song, okay.
Right. And their last song is this really like slow 15-minute bluesy talky song called The Jack.
Yes.
And like, got the Jack, Jack, Jack. Bam. They leave. Crowd's going crazy. Ovation, freaking out, They're like, more. They don't come out. They just go. Bond towels off, put on this fucking skinny ass t-shirt, leather jacket that's way too tight, comes way too tight. And his hair's all messy. He's like, hey man, and I didn't know him. There was no like, I wasn't looking to see if like they drank too much. I mean, fuck, I was probably drunkity drunk after like one couple beers,
Okay.
But knocking back beers, and I'm like, oh my god, you guys were great. And I was really cool. Okay, so I would make this, sorry, a long story. I've never told the long version before, but the next day I go to sort of a used record store called Rasputin's in Berkeley. And I go there and I get
ACDC.
Yeah, it's High Voltage, right? It's like,
yes, High
right.
Voltage was Dirty Deeds. Or
whatever the first album was
High Voltage.
High Voltage. And I take the Lightning Bolt, him on the cover,
Yes.
right? And I go, oh, I get it. He's wearing the same shit that he wore on the cover of the thing. I didn't see the album. So I go, Bond goes, hey, Harry, you want to play pool? I'm like, yeah. And I totally treated him different. I was like, oh my God, what's it like? And he's like, I liked you better yesterday.
Okay.
And same thing.
Fantastic.
And even though I remember Larry Elliott, our guitar player, was like, I like Elvis Costello. The first album, Elvis Costello. Actually, and the band on Elvis Costello's first album was a band called Clover.
Okay.
And they were from our town, the Bay Area, Marin County, San Francisco. It actually, Clover played on Elvis Costello's, and then they ended up being Huey Lewis and the News.
Yeah.
Just a little thing, But I was leaning towards Elvis Costello because this motherfucker wanted me to go there. Sorry for cussing. Sorry for saying Elvis Costello. I liked Elvis Costello later on in life, but I wanted to write. I mean, I remember I told you I only knew 3 chords. So did ACDC, man. It was like A chords, E chords, bashing out that shit. I was like, I could do that.
Yeah.
And that was it. I sort of fucking packed up that suit, put it right back in the suit bag, and started wearing jeans with tiny shirts and my fucking belly hanging out,
Okay, so very last question. As we can see in the Back to Budokan DVD, and you've done that quite a few times, you enjoy to switch instruments for the encore.
Yeah.
How this idea came about, and how do you decide who's playing what? Do you fight for that? I want to play guitar or what?
That's ironic. That is so funny because we never did until we started rehearsing for what we're doing tonight.
Okay.
I wanted to play drums. Everybody wants to play drums in the band. It's just, And what happened was, it started out with Budokan. Like, the Beatles played Budokan, Cheap Trick, all the famous...
Everybody Kiss,
Yeah, but...
Michael Schenker.
Right, but in the beginning,
yeah,
that made it famous was the Beatles,
sure.
but Cheap Trick.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to want me, right? So we thought, hey, let's play a cover and let's play. We go, hey, let's play Ain't That a Shame. It's a Beatles, and Cheap Trick has done it. So we'll kill two birds with one stone. But, and I don't really remember whose idea, maybe Paul, because Paul is an accomplished drummer. He's great. I mean, trust me, he's great. And you'll see tonight, you'll be blown out. I mean, he's really good. So he goes, I want to play drums. And I'm like going, okay, I want to play guitar. And I don't think I got to play, we've done it a few dozen times, or a bunch of times, but maybe I played bass, and Billy played guitar, and Pat sang. We got that, okay, that's fun. And we did that a couple times, and then we did Suffragette City with David Bowie, and Billy sang, actually came out in a Japanese schoolboy outfit. Kind of weird. And then to be even more outrageous, a fan gave me a Godzilla like a mascot, a football thing would wear, or like a lion or something like that. They gave me like a Godzilla. And I had a Godzilla costume with a really long tail, and I played bass. It's hotter than fuck, but it was fun. And then we started going, okay, well, this is boring. Let's do something completely different. And on Suffragette City, I played guitar.
Okay.
And I learned a solo. It was the first time I played a solo live, right?
Big satisfaction.
Call me. So, Paul was back playing drums. Billy might have played drums once. But anyway, that's how we did it for the longest time.
So.
And we switched, and we had those guys, Billy and Paul, taught us how to play.
Okay.
Pat played bass. I mean, we played Smoke in the Water. But then we played, like 1 or 2 shows, we played Brown Sugar.
All
by
right.
the Stones.
Yes.
See, that's all come back full circle. And I played drums. Paul sang, and he wore like a red and white top hat and that shirt that Jagger used to wear with the upside down sort of.
All right.
I don't know if it's an umlaut or a horseshoe or something, and a scarf. He was doing Jagger. And Billy played guitar, and Pat played bass.
Okay.
And then, no. What?
So everybody's doing everything. That's,
everybody's doing everything.
It's
but even
amazing.
even Billy came out and played the sax solo.
Oh my God.
And he played sax. Anyway, long story
great.
short, this year we're playing. When is this being aired?
After the show. So,
okay. All right, so I'll just tell you that we're playing "Living After Midnight."
Oh wow,
Judas Priest.
Priest song.
Yeah.
Okay, so switching instruments. Okay. So
yeah,
that's...
and at practice, I go, I want to play drums, and Paul's like, no. I'm playing drums and you're playing bass. And they go, no, I want to play guitar. I go, no, you're playing. And I go, oh man, that's the only time we have an argument.
All right.
I want to play. So I'm playing bass. Billy's playing guitar. Pat is singing lead with Matt singing, and they're doing harmonies and shit.
All right, fantastic.
Yeah,
So I can't wait to see that.
That's a lot of fun, actually.
Wow, that's great. So thanks so much, Eric, for your time.
Sure.
See you next time.
Edit that. I dare you.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
All right.